So goal setting. One of the things that we do when we are setting goals is we're looking to the future. Everything's about the future. So in setting goals, we think how am I going to get there? What am I going to do? And we're moving away from something to something. And what we really need to do in this first week, I would say, in your goal setting, and a lot of people want to just set goals right now. I say just take your time through this month, work your goals, set your goals, think about your goals, plan your goals, and that's why I'm going to teach for 6 weeks on it because I think goal setting is approached kind of like making a list, kind of like making a shopping list where I don't think goal setting should be a to-do list. Goal setting, it should be a way of life that you're developing, and the more you think through that way of life, the more you'll have success. And so the first tip, I'm calling it a tip. The first tip I'll give you today is go back to your old successes and evaluate where you were successful in the past and make sure that you don't leave anything on the table. And how many times have you and I stopped doing things that work for the sake of doing something that's new? And I think there's so many times we miss out on our goal setting, and our goal setting is always about doing something new. Let's do the new thing. Let's do this new thing. Where the actual goal should be, in many cases, just staying with the old thing that works, sticking with it, and don't get caught up in doing something that's new. New doesn't mean it works. New means a learning curve that's going to happen. You're going to have to learn new things, and so you'll be slowed down in what's new. And it's not staying away from what's new, but realizing if it's working, then maybe I should think about scaling what I'm doing rather than just replacing what I'm doing. And that replacement mindset is destructive to your goals because goals, we think if we have to do everything new. If I'm going to lose weight, I have to go and get all new clothes, and I have to do all new this, and I have to do a new routine. Well, maybe you have to do the routine that you're doing just a little bit more intensify it. Maybe you should do it in the old clothes, right? Maybe you should do it in the broke down, broke down t-shirt, right? And don't go get a new cute one, right? That's maybe not going to help you because it's the doing what's successful that's working. And so go back and just ask yourself, what did I do over the last 5 years that was successful? And why am I not doing it? Why did I ever stop doing it? And every time I realized, I went back and I think, what was it that I was doing that was successful? And why did I stop doing it? The reason I stopped doing it is because I saw someone else doing something that I thought, oh, that may be better. Or there was a new little chia, a new thing that came out that made me want to try that because it had a new jingle. And I went and tried it. And the fact is it did not help me. It frustrated me. And in that frustration, I forgot about what was working. I forgot about what was working. I was so busy working and trying to figure out how is this going to work. And then I missed the realization that I had incredible low-hanging fruit in the past. And I don't know if I still have this teaching up, but every change that you make, every decision you make, you have to go through opportunity cost to do it. And you should think through what's going to cost me to actually bring this into a successful pattern already. This pattern is successful, which most opportunity costs is you're going to have to pay in dividends of energy and dividends of focus. You're going to have to pay somewhere. And so if it takes so much more to go and catch this thing, and if you ever see my video on opportunity costs, you realize if I want to go from being a hunter gatherer and I'm collecting grubs and I'm just digging in the dirt and it costs me this much and it's my low hanging fruit and it's easy. If I want to go and start, getting rabbits, or if I want to go from getting rabbits to getting wild, big game, I've got an opportunity cost. I've got to realize, what am I going to expend in energy, in learning, in understanding to get that? And can I do it in such a way that it is valuable enough for me to let go of what I'm doing that's sustainable and go after that? So the real disruptors, the real power of disruption, and you'll hear me say it over and over. It's almost like a mantra, and I say it consistently where I don't think people get it. The real disruptors in the world are always going to be where you allow a person to keep what was successful in their past and keep that in mind at the same time giving them something new so that they can bring that, and it's not a huge change in distraction from what was successful. It's a easy step for them, and they don't have a high level of opportunity cost in going for it. So you want to just make sure you're thinking this year when you're starting your goals. Don't start your goals in what's new. Start your goals with what's old that worked. What worked last year? What worked? What made 2022, 2021 really successful? What made 2020 successful? A lot of you had great success in 2020, and some of you learned survival tactics and survival strategies and techniques that you're throwing away because you're not in that same kind of mode of survival. And the fact is maybe you were supposed to learn that mode and incorporate some of that in. I mean, like being on video like this, incorporating this was literally forced in us, even though we were doing a little bit, but it was forced in us to meet on video like this on a weekly basis. Well, we're just keeping it going. We're going to keep it going. Now we're going to add our in-persons back into our lives. And so we're going to have in person and online, but we kept this strategy. You keep a strategy because this strategy is successful. So recognize the low hanging fruit that's successful, combine as many of the low hanging fruit in different aspects of your life, and you'll have a disruptive life. It's going to be a life that's not going to have a high level of opportunity costs because they're already very, very, very easy, achievable, attainable things, but bringing those things in a place of confluence will increase you in such a way that you're going to notice that there's going to be transformation taking place in your life because the opportunity cost. And so go back to what's successful. What worked, and why did you stop? Why did you stop? One of the things that I pull out every time I'm thinking what it worked, and I actually will use this today, is an index card. An index card. I'll use this today, and I'll write down 5 things on an index card that worked in the last 5 years of my life. And I'll realize, and I'll try to find out next. And I'll write next to those, why did I stop using those? Why did I stop doing it? Why did I stop? And the reason I pull an index card, because an index card is something that has followed me from my sales life. When I was in sales, I would contact a new customer and I'd have an index card. Index card, small. It's very small. I was able to, get a nice little index case. An index case was separated by by months. And so I would call Tanya. Hi, Tanya. This is Tracy Armstrong from such and such and X, Y, and Z widgets. Hey, let's and talk to her about what her widget needs and all of this stuff. And then, we're not ready right now for the widgets that you're offering, but man, I would really like to talk in the future. Okay, so what would be the good time for me to contact you? Would you say in the next 5 months, 6 months, 7 months would it be good for me to give you a little bit of a follow-up call? Yes, great. Okay, excellent. So and then I'd write all of the information, whatever I got with that person's name on the. I'm not doing this to tell you to convert you to this, but I'm doing this to tell you how I started everything I did. Everything I do, I start with some kind of index card. And so I wrote down, and I would take that person's name. They said contact them in 6 months, so I'd count the 6 months, and I put it by the end of that. When it comes, let's say 6 months, it comes in June. June, I have a whole stack of follow-up cards. And then I would just be on that the first part of June, just making follow-up calls. Hey, Tanya, how's it going? Excellent. How's the paella business? Oh, outstanding. Okay, I hear that you do this, and okay, I remember that. All I'm doing is I'm remembering back of our conversation. Based upon our conversation, everything I wrote down, we talked about, we shot the breeze. She just came back from, whatever. She was traveling or she was surfing, whatever. And then I wrote it all down. And so I bring it back up as a reference of relationship and our equity building, a relational equity. I'm talking, hey, so are you going skiing again? Are you going surfing again? Whatever it was, we're building that equity that we're still in that. So it's not like this hard follow-up call. It's a relationship that we're building. If she's not ready, okay, so it sounds like you're still not ready, which is okay. Would you like me to call you in another 6 months? Guess what? That goes now to the month of December. And this is how I build my sales everything I did in sales was based upon referral and follow-up. Refer and follow up. When I started ministry, guess what I did? I started ministry. I had one invitation to go and talk to someone. When I got to them, I went and preached did a youth camp in Green Bay. After that camp in Green Bay, I said, can you give me 3 referrals? And this is all the stuff that worked for me. And can you give me 3 referrals, 3 people that you know? Yeah, and I said, could you tell them within the next 24 hours, and give me the information, because I'm going to send them something in the next 24 hours. I have a packet that I'd like to give them just to introduce myself. And if you call them and just let them know, I want them to call within the first 24 hours of my relationship building with them, so that they still feel the energy and the excitement of the meetings. And so they would call within the next 24 hours. And some of the calls I would sit down and go, hey, let's call them right now. Let's talk to them, introduce me to them. And the pastors didn't mind doing that. We would sit, we're just shooting the breeze. We're just talking. So let's call them right now. They'd call and say, hey, Tracy was here. We had incredible meetings. This person stepped out of a wheelchair, whatever happened in the service. All right. So then they're now go from a cold lead to a hot lead, Melinda. They go from a cold lead to a hot lead because it's referral based. So then after that, I contact each person within the next 24 hours of talking to them. Hey, just wanted to make sure I have the address right. I'm going to send you a packet. My assistant is going to, I think I was my assistant at the time. My assistant is going to send you a packet. And then I would send the packet to them. And this packet had all the information about who I am and the articles that were written, all in form, I'm going to send this packet. I'll call you next week and give you a chance to go through it. Just make sure you have it and answer any questions. So I would put this in the next week. I'm calling back next week. And packet. Okay, so just want to make sure you see what's in the packet. This is our profile. This is my product. This is the article I wrote for that's social proofing, right? I'm going through all of the social proof, everything with them. And then, okay, so listen, hey, I just want to introduce myself. Is it okay that I would give you a call back in 5 or 6 months just to check in, build relationship? Yeah, and you know what ended up happening after we spent so much time building relationships? Sometimes I would have to call back because they wanted a specific time, but a lot of times they're like, listen, I have my calendar out now. Let's put you on the calendar right now. Let's get you on the calendar. Let's get you set up. This is how I built my traveling ministry. Traveled 3 weeks out of the month. And never, ever, ever had to beg for an invitation, just using these little cards. Now, I bring these cards into everything I can. Colin Powell would bring these things, and he would teach he would just write his bullet points on little index cards. Index cards, that's his success point. Now, yours may not be index card, but there's something that you did in the past that you've seen the successful pattern of it, and you want to bring that into your goal setting. My goal this year is to make sure that whatever I was successful at, I bring it into and I find a place to keep it in my life and keep it successful. And I'm not going to try to actually get the newfangled thing on this. I'm just going to keep scaling it up. I'm going to use it in every aspect. And so the more you can do that in your goal setting, the more you can do that with your understanding, you're wise about using what has been successful. That's going to be a low-hanging fruit for you. All of that back to the idea of making sure that you don't throw away old tools that work. Keep the tools that work. Find out what they are. And in what's really in the world of online marketing, so many people are throwing away successful marketing strategies for the sake of the new strategy of marketing. But don't go away from what worked. Stay in that space, because when you stay in that space with what worked, you will actually always keep a base income. Just think about it as base income, a base growth, a base success. And that base success will never be stolen, because if it worked once in society, it's going to continue to work in society. You need progressive revelation instead of replacement revelation. So we'll replace the past thing for the new thing. And that's not the strategy. The strategy is to progressively add the new thing to the old thing so that we have a disruptive. A disruption is the old thing and the new thing finding a confluence that makes it work together, and it helps a person. Now, if you were part of Barry Buster Academy this week, I taught very much about that power of a disruptive. So go back and evaluate. I'm going to take this exact card right here, and I'm going to go back for the next 5 years in my mind, and I'm going to just write down one thing per year. There may be more, but my goal is to say what are the things over the last 5 years that I just have stopped doing that have been successful. They've always brought me dividends. And it's amazing. And you'll ask yourself, why did I ever stop doing it? You'll ask yourself that, and you'll think, why did I ever stop doing it? It makes me so mad that I stopped doing it, because it takes away so much of the success of my life when I stop doing it. So I have things in your life that you're just not going to stop because they're successful. And you can always add new things to it and make it a little bit better, or scale it. But the key to scalability is doing it right once and twice and 3 times and 4 times, repetitive, doing it right, and then you can scale. If you can't get the results you want, and there's no sense in trying to scale something that's not proven. And so you scale only what's proven. And when you are able to prove it is by the return on investment. If you are getting a return, then just scale it. If you're not getting a return, then you can change it. You can modify it. But if you're getting a return, scale it. Make something a part of your goal this year is scaling something that works.